welcome back to another stream. Today we're just gonna hop right on to Minecraft. See, will you load Minecraft, or are you just gonna be a blank screen? There we go. Ah, I got it to work. Alright. So, what's the plan today? Well, right now, there's not really that much of a plan, because I had actually completely forgotten to do the cobblestone and gravel. So now I could get some more material. That is on me. I am so sorry about that. I don't want this to be a long stream of just me breaking blocks, but looks like that might just be the case, so. Unless, can I make a crusher that is just able to turn? Looks like I can make a lot thanks to the crusher. Oh, cobblestone can turn into sand. Alright, Sonia crystal. Atomic reconstructor, iron casing, black quartz, 4 sticks, 4 iron. Now we got black quartz, there it is. And I need some iron. Which does not look like I have a whole crazy amount. No, so. Oh, that's quartz enriched iron too. That's not even the right iron. Okay. Let's go ahead and compressed hammer, because it'll be faster on camera to break this. Compressed cobblestone. There it is. Boom. Alright. Offhand and now it's break. Alright. And while this is going, I do have a few. I saw a thing up in the upper corner over here by the farm water where there was a squid that spawned, but it probably fell. Oh, wow. Okay. Gravel is shooting everywhere. Alright. So I'm actually going to go ahead and do this in the house, and that way at least it's all contained. This has no chance of just shooting into the abyss. Alright, and real quick, I do want to talk about a few things. One, the upcoming stream that's supposed to happen on the 23rd is going to be rescheduled for another day, because that is actually my birthday, so I want to spend time with my family, but while it is my birthday, so there won't be a stream happening on that day. I am sorry to say that, but at the same time, I also do want to spend time with people that I love. So if you guys come to the channel next week, do not expect a video on the Thursday. I will most likely do it on either. How did that happen? Most likely there will be a stream happening on either the 9th, or not 9th, it's a 9 because of this. There will be a stream happening either on the 22nd or the 24th. I have yet to decide. But there will be a decision before that, and it will be posted on the stream scheduling, so that way you guys know when I decide and what day that would be. Another thing is I've been doing a lot of playing of another game called PZ, Project Zomboid. I'm really liking it. It's a zombies apocalypse game where you just try to survive in a world that's just doing everything it can to kill you. If you guys would like to see that, let me know, but other than that, not really a whole lot to say, unless you guys want to hear more about it. I will always be open to share stories about it as we play on this. Although, sorry if you guys hear a lot of clicky clacky, the microphone is pretty close to the mouse, so. And I got a very loud mouse. I got a loud mouse and keyboard, honestly, so. I have been thinking about getting a quieter set for this reason. So I'm pretty sure you guys don't want to hear this in the background as I talk. Pretty sure that would get annoying very, very fast. But, I know we're getting quite a few diamonds out of this, with a 1% spawn and the fact that I'm doing over 600 pieces of gravel, technically. It's like, or no, it's not over 600, it's like just about 600. It's like, I want to say it's like 576. That's how much I'm doing. No, that's not, I don't think that's right. Oh, 2 diamonds. Not bad. A lot of lapis, a lot of coal. 100 pieces of iron. That's insane. That's 25 extra bits. So I got 26 to smelt up. That is unbelievable. Alright, while we wait for all that to smelt, we go ahead and go over here and harvest a little bit more of the farm. Because the chicken coop over there, I have been doing a lot of work. If you guys haven't seen the last stream, there's a lot going into it. And there will, until I get to a certain amount, there will just constantly be more and more. But you are weak. You are a high tier and you are a low tier. ink black, you are low tier. Alright. It's high tier, so it's time to see, are you better or are you worse? You're definitely a lot better. Oh, uncommon loot bag. Just some gunpowder. Alright. Alright. And in this one, we got a log and a flint. So 2 ink, 3 string, some stuff. Yeah, eggs don't harm you guys. I don't know why you guys keep freaking out about that. Everyone's got a little of that, a little of this. Iron one, ooh, has a free piece of iron. That's always nice to see. Iron, 2 leather. Oh, got a new leather. Alright, over here. String and cactus screen. Some other stuff. This one, cactus screen and some other stuff. And the final one, coal, string, some other stuff. Alright. Got a lot of feathers, which unfortunately don't really have a lot of uses that I can actually utilize right now. Pick an angel block, I guess. I don't know what that's the angel block is about, but oh well. A lot of this stuff is for chickens, so I'm gonna throw it into here. Grab that. Goes in, I want that. That's gonna go somewhere else. I want this. Then flint's coming with me since that goes somewhere else. Alright. So that's a lot of just extra stuff in there. Put that in there. Coal in there. I'll throw the gunpowder in the gunpowder chest. Just this one. There we go. Alright. Iron casing. You can use in plenty of stuff. But I need it in this. That I need the atomic reconstructor, so I need 4 more iron, 4 redstone. So I am gonna need another one of these later on, but this I need first. Alright. So I need 4 redstone, which I believe's up here. Do I only have 2? I only have 2. Alright. I'm just gonna break 4 because I think that's all I'm gonna need. I gotta turn it all the way to dust though. So this is gonna take a bit. go. Break these. And I need diamond and oh, got the 4. Let's go. Alright. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And boom. Atomic Reconstructor. Alright. I'm gonna put it over here, but I gotta figure out how to make this work. Put it here for now. What the? Okay. No lens. Alright, so I'm gonna take a block of redstone and make it into redstone apple. So I need even more redstone. So I wasn't actually done with that. That's great. Oh well. Alright. Well, that's fine. Let's see. Oh, I know I'm gonna need more gravel, so I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm doing anymore. I am lost. Alright. And boom. Now I know that's gonna break, so I have enough diamonds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. I need 3 more. I do have enough, so I will make a compressed diamond hammer. Show you over here. Then I'm gonna need another craft of sticks in order to have enough. There we go. And I actually want to enchant it real quick. Maybe I can get unbreaking on it. Nope, just efficiency. Yep, it's all just efficiency. That's fine. Alright. I'm gonna do it like this time. I'm gonna go up here, break the top layer, and then go down and break the next. And yeah. I'm gonna go ahead and make a spare craft table in here for this sole purpose only. And the reason why I want to do all of this is because once all this is done, I can then get started on the Tinker's Construct part. because I can get a lot of gravel, which can make a lot of ore. I float it down and get a lot of good stuff. It's 1/2. And there we go. And boom. Alright. More dust. Into the filter. I want to make a full crystal, so I need 9. And then it'll be time to figure out how to make the power work. Alright. Well, I got a spare one. That's nice. At least. Go. Alright. Redstone block. Hold a redstone torch. Power. Hold a redstone torch to toggle. Alright, well, I guess I'm grabbing that one spare dust that I have. This. Alright. You've crafted a couple items, might want to find a way to automate this. Don't introduce craft crystals, which is the main ingredient. Most items from actual additions. Upon use supply of power, shoots out a laser. When the laser hits a block, it will convert all surrounding items and blocks, provided they can be converted. Shooting a laser uses 1000 RF. Additional rates vary depending on the conversion. There's lenses that can be attached to reconstruct that don't all follow the default behavior of the reconstruction. What it will do is neat things. See the when right-clicking reconstruction has a rest of the torch will change between mode where it gets deactivated by redstone and a mode responds to pulses. Should be noted that any recipes listed without information about lenses, don't use one. Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and break all these then, so that way I can actually let's see, what is in the actually additions? Alright. Empowered Restonia Crystal. Okay, there's a lot of requires Restonia Crystal. Trying to make you need this. 400 RF. But do I need to make this? Use everything. Those for buffer is never full power. Stop generating power. So I might need to use that, and I'll just put this guy. Whoops. Over here. Oh. Okay, so I just have to put it next to each other. Oh. And it just crushes into sand. Well, that's definitely primitive. So, okay, so that's all I needed to do. I just had to put them next to each other. Wait, so then if I take a stack of this, come over here, take that out, throw that in. And I run back into here, grab coal. Throw that into there. It'll then give more power and I can get gravel. Oh, and sometimes it'll just turn straight to sand. Okay. Oh no, it gave me a bonus sand. Alright, so probably the coal generator has to be right next to it too. Which is very easy to craft. I just need to actually make another iron casing. I only got a few of these crystals, so I want to make sure that I'm actually using them for what I want to use them on. Grab 2 of those, and I need 6 cobblestone. This, and this. Coal generator. Alright. Yeah, only take 5. Oh! Nice. And now I can use this to make some other stuff too. A lot of stuff. Now to make this crusher, I need another one of these. 2 glowstone, 2 flint, and even more black quartz. So that might not work. But it's fine because I should have like a chest input and output to this. Alright. Always on. This. And I'm gonna break this one, this one, this one, this one. Now I gotta go craft some stuff. Alright. First, I need wood. Go. Hopper. I'm hoping the input and output for this work. Alright, well, it's definitely taking items out. That's nice. Alright. Now, will you take items in? If you can, that should be like fully automated. Takes from all sides, goes in. Let's get filled into there. It does, okay. And then actually, what I could do instead is take that side off, put it over here. Then coal. Hopper. Thug was able to do that. Alright, now I need a different storage item because I can't put chests next to each other. I don't have any tripwire to make a new block. And only dirt can go in there. So that won't work. I have a lot of compressed gravel. Alright, guess it's back to sifting. So alright. Cause I need iron. There we go, that will work. Ooh, 2 bits. Nice. And there. Alright. And I go over here to this. To this. Smelt it up. Fill it up with coal. So I can make it so I can automate both the gravel and the sand part. But as for the dust, that's gonna be a different thing. Alright. Let's make that tripwire. Oh, I get 2. Okay. I need... What I'm actually gonna do is make a double chest. And it's gonna go right on the other side to filter coal down into there. And then this can just be like, oh, I need to cook up some stuff. Alright. That is good. Now what I want to do is make a new cobblestone generator. Looks like this is good for building supplies, and I actually will be needing that, but I want to do else. Stay. Alright. Cobblestone generator. Here we go. I need a glass, 6 blocks of cobblestone, lava, and water. And now I have a lava bucket in here. And I have a spare bucket so I can get some water real quick. And I can go quickly smelt up a sand here, which is so much faster. And I can go back over here. Boom. The next one, surrounded with iron. Diamonds, blaze rods, which can I recraft the gold chicken, a lava chicken. Prepared from iron and yellow, and then coal and nether. So I already have half of both of them. Which is not bad. And to get this gold chicken, which is diamond and cactus green, and diamond is glass and gold, which is nether, quartz chicken, and redstone chicken, and then iron and yellow. So that's gonna take a while. But I don't need like oh. Oh. Alright. Because I think I actually gonna need tier 2 to keep up with. Maybe tier 1 can keep up. Let's see. Oh, yeah, I can definitely keep up. Okay. So now I'll just do that. Are the slabs still down there, or have they despawned? They've despawned. That's fine. So I got plenty more right here. Remake a full block. I'm gonna put it underneath this. There we go. Alright. Well, now I got infinite gravel, but sand is going to be very rare, so that's fine. So I guess I don't really need to be having this here anymore, but that's fine. That can stay as a relic. Alright. Let's see, what upgrades can I get? It's money, a cost of pumping of water, speed of operation. Which, oh my goodness. enchanted ingot, which is gold and lapis to make. Guess I need a resonator. And I can. Oh my god. Alright, see. Oh yeah, I can make backpacks. I forgot about that. Oh. This is really nice. Coal will be slight of an issue, but that's fine. Because anytime I sift here, I could just take the coal out and bring it with over to here to have it powered even longer. Because this should be able to like last a very long time. Oh yeah, since that's a trapped chest, if I open it, it stops the flow. Which is both funny and a little upsetting, but oh well. Alright. Hey, we got more sheep in. Let's go. Oh, and everything grew up in here. So now it's time to see if any of them are better or if it's time to just say goodbye. Alright. Well, no, you're not any better. You're a chicken. Alright. Let's check. This, so you are the sand. Nope, this one's still better. 111. 111. 111. 111. Alright, that's all of them. I can throw that in there. This. And I do have this, which, wow, a lot of stuff, but at the same time, not a lot of stuff. Chance gives. Oh yeah, I forgot about those. These things have a chance to just completely wreck the world, but what I can do is craft some, build a platform very far away, and set them off. Alright. The compressed gravel there. Cobble in there. Oh, no, gravel should be in there. Sand in here. Dust in there. Oh wow. A lot of the farm is done. Which reminds me, this needs to be changed out again. Go. Alright. I think I'm gonna build the chance cube area that way, out behind the platform right there. Go ahead and just throw some of the stuff into the different chests, so then that way I could go out that far without risk of losing anything. Oh well, I don't know why it sometimes sends me out like that. Oh. Let's also see what the chance cube scanner is. Right. I don't want to lose the obsidian AIoT or this. Put them both in there. I will take a bow and I'll take a stack of arrows just in case if I need to defend myself. I'm also going to take that off. My little lava charm. I only have one of those and I don't want to lose it. Alright. Stack of arrows. Knives there. Not like this. And now, stacks. Into several stacks of stone slabs. Actually, I should probably do it down here. I could just do it all the way down there, actually. Alright. And now I'll just go this way. Quite a bit. And I like how the fact that we can see a squid just falling. Alright. $23. I don't know what that means. Okay, obviously, I gotta make this platform huge. Alright, let's see how long is this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So 14. I kind of regret not bringing the pickaxe right now. That's fine. Alright. Let's go ahead and make it this, and then make it one more out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Alright, right here. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Alright. And then I just fill all this in. Without trying to mess it up. And there's a very possible chance that this entire platform goes kaboom from an explosion. And that would not be very good, but that's the chance cue. I will mark the center. This one and -4. Okay, I feel like that's gonna be bad. I do not know if there's a safe way to disable them. So it has positive and negative values. So 23 is probably good. This is probably gonna be really bad. It's 2, this is 4. This is 6. There's the last little bit. Because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Which is beautiful. I can fill this area in. We can start listening to some Minecraft music as well. Alright. The Pig of Destiny. A lot of armor. Ah! Well, alright. That's fine. Oh my, that did heavy damage to my armor. 73, okay, that's good. Huh? Giga Breaker. Efficiency 10, Fortune 3, wooden pickaxe. Yay! I can mine some coal ore. I can mine coal ore. Oh, that if this, oh my god. I feel like I should run. An experience particle? I'm gonna get rid of this. There we go. An experience particle, alright. -15. What the hell is Soul Fray? Oh, it's not trying to kill me, so that's good. 34. Whew, okay. -27. Okay. I do not like that. Alright. Time to play some really bad... Did it just bounce? I think it bounced. That's annoying. I gotta clear these guys. That's good. It's annoying because bats are very unpredictable. And these are gonna bug with my mob farm up there because I don't think these guys despawn. I killed the Pick of Destiny using indirect damage. Yeah, I have a feeling those guys are gonna be impossible for me to kill now, which is just great. Alright, let me go ahead and do this last chance cube, and I'll head back up. 21, alright. A watering can, yay! Alright, time to head back up. Oh, the chance cubes are very chancy, so that's great. But oh well, it's fine. Alright, we're almost to the top. Well, I say almost to the top. We're just now reaching this layer. So I gotta go check out. Ooh, okay, the squids do have something for me. Chiseled bit back on my resource for bits, shield, obsidian chestplate, and 4 bones. And ooh, there's a second one over here. It has gold and silicon. Alright. Well, that was kind of dangerous, but oh well. Simply jetpacks. That was fine with that. It must be more on chest plate. Anyway, printed silicon. With a solder, can make basic, improved, and advanced processors, which I can make a crafter. Transmitter and receiver. Disk drive. Crafting grid, pattern grid. There's a lot of stuff I can make with that. Okay. I guess I'll throw this on for now. I don't really have a chest plate anymore. What the? Was that always there? Okay. That's very interesting. I feel like since I have that shield now, I should probably put that there, this there, and then... Oh, that's coming me to a different area. I'm almost out of arrows. That's fine, I literally get infinite feathers and flint, so... So that in there. Yeah. Not a lot of, stuff happening. As I say that, chickens come out. Alright, I'll let those chickens grow up and then... do something with the, not stronger ones. Alright. I have a lot of the stuff. That's fine. Alright, that is fully mature now, so I can actually start loading up the dispensers with this stuff. I'm gonna put 5 stacks in each one for now. Alright. And I still have another 5, 10, and a bit. Alright. Well, we got the automation for this started up. So now I'll have infinite gravel and a tiny bit of infinite sand. Not a lot, but enough to make it work. Alright, coal is the one thing that I gotta worry about. Unless I can use this for something to make into a I can squeeze the lava out of it. There's a block of iron, piece of iron, 4 sticks, and 2 planks to make it. By jumping on it. Redstone poles to reset. Okay. That's actually not as costly as it used to be. I already have 3, so I just need a little bit more. Time to sift. Alright. So I need 7, and each one takes 4, so I need 28 iron. Hopefully the 28 iron comes very easily. We're only missing 20 more anyway, so. Alright. And we're almost halfway there. There we go. We're halfway there. Right. 8 more. 8 more. Come on. Give me the 8. 4 more. There we go. Nice. And then this one gives a bonus. That's fine. So the rest of this in there. And look at that. 31 more iron. So I'll let that smell. Oh! There's an extra iron in there already. Oh well. Go. So now this stack should fill back up. Which doesn't seem like I added that much more, but look at all the gravel I have here and the gravel I still have here. I feel like once I get the squeezer, lava is going to be very, very good. Alright, so I also need sticks. Alright, so I got the 4 sticks, 2 planks, got the piece of iron. Just gotta wait for 2 more. And there's 1 for the block. And there's 1 for the bottoms. Now, boom, 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 boom. Squeezing like a boss. New achievement. Alright. So now what I'm thinking is, where are my buckets? I know I got 2. There. This over here. How many jumps does this take? And a redstone signal to reset. Actually, I could just do that. So this takes I feel like it just broke, but it's just me, because that looks really squished. I mean, I don't think I can take it out right now. I mean, it did take a while for the first one to activate. there like a fluid container I have to push it into? Oh, caps lock. Hmm. Uh. Hmm. Alright. Can get sponge water. Snowball, get more water. Ice, I can get a full thing. Snow, get a full thing. Sorry, I get just a little bit of lava. Oh. So I can put gravel in here to get flint really quick. I can break stained glass, get sand back. That's a huge return on those. Ooh, double on those two. Nice. Blaze rods give me 4 of that. So I guess one of these equals a lava bucket. More powders, and then more ores. Mineral resin. What can I use this for? Crystallized mineral. Which can we use to make facade? Variable store. G battery. Stairs, bricks, log programmer. Mineral trunk, which can we use for a variety of stuff. I feel like this thing doesn't fully work, but that might just be me not knowing how to properly use this. Which could also be very true. I'll have to experiment with that. At a later time, I suppose. Like, I feel like it just goes down really fast all of a sudden. Which is kind of weird to me, but oh well. Thought that might work, but it could also just be like a skill issue thing. I'm just using it wrong or something. Which I might be. But oh well. Squeezes, flattens, and crisps by jumping on it. I don't know if there's a way to like automate that. Let's see. Is there a way for me to just... Nope. It's just that, and then the boiling cobblestone in a crucible. Or getting fire essence, which is C reprocessor. Give me that, which give me 2 fire essence, which 2 of those makes a lava bucket, and in order to get this, it takes 1 of these. It takes 4, so it's horrid return. I'll pretty soon adjacent to lava. Aggressive efficiency lava. I feel like I have some of those somewhere. Not 100% certain. Alright. Throw this diamond back over here. Let's quickly take a look there. Nothing. Oh well. Grab all these. And then put all these back in. There we go. What else can I use? Liquid fertilizer to make a fertilizer spray. Or you can turn it into RF. Or compost to make dirt. Oh, I can compost this and make dirt. Dirt is so hard to make, so figuring that out is gonna be a little game changing. Here. One of the chickens is grown up now, but I'll wait for the others to grow up before I start my culling. Pretty sure oh, I can't use this though. So this is only meant for here. Oh, okay. Good to know. And you know, bone meal goes straight to here, and all chicken manure goes over there. By the way, I think they're done. Nope. Alright. And fill them back in. Cannot be used on that. Oops. Did not mean to break that whole stalk. Alright. Over here, throw that in there, throw that there, throw this here. Chisels and bits. What is that? A lot of different things when it comes to the chiseled stuff. Alright, this can make... Wow, that's a lot of durability on that. Let's go ahead and make that and see what that does. Alright, I'll use this as... Oh my god. Just Alt. Oh my. I just destroyed an entire. $4,096. This thing can hold so much. But breaks this so fast. I'm sure I could use that for something. And it's about to die. Okay. Guess I could use that to bring some color to the world. But the question is can they can exist on the same block? Okay. That's pretty cool. So that I'll definitely hold on to. Is there more chisels I can make? I can make a diamond chisel. I think the only one that actually... so if I have it to the side, it makes a... Oh my goodness, that's a lot of durability on that. Well, don't need a stone one anymore. Because, that's gonna last forever. Ooh, I just realized. I can make some colored concrete and spruce up the world a little bit with solid color blocks. I can make... Actually, I think with how they're made, I can make 10 different colors, so... That's exactly what I'm gonna do. Need another red, because I'm gonna grab 2 blues. And make a purple. Progression 3%. I have no idea what that means. Everything's 3%. Why is progression 3%? Well, I'm gonna restart the world. I don't know why up in the top over here it says progression 3%. Okay, it's gone now. I feel stupid slow. Oh, alright. 6 colors. Go ahead and grab some black. I'm also gonna grab some white. Alright. So that will make gray. That will make light gray. So now I should be able to have a whole bunch of different colors. There we go. That's not how you make concrete. Oh, I just got the recipe wrong. There we go. Boom, 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 ding, bang, bop, boom. Alright, go. There. Water it, make your very own concrete. Alright, here's what we do. Boom, 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 boom. What the? I feel like I'm stupid fast on these now. What on earth? Wait. Oh well. There we go. Now I just made a whole bunch of colors plus stuff. And if I need more, I have 7 more units of where I came from. I essentially have my very own paintbrush. And I'm gonna do this so I can see all the colors. If I want this one. And I can go over here. And very slowly just do something like this. I feel like if I'm doing that, I have like this zoomed in. Maybe a lower sensitivity. Be like down to 45. So I can actually control little block movement. Just do this. All this work just to paint a single tile red. But I do have a way to decorate. So even though the world won't be very realistic, I'll at least have... Oh, turn that down to 30 again. It's in here. I gotta turn this up to 100. Set this to normal. Now, I have that. I'll rake it. And then that. I wonder if there's a way that I can like make more. Because having this, it's like just place anywhere. Oh, corners are gonna be a little annoying, but oh well. And I can't store that in there, so. Move this. Smash. And boom. $40,960 concrete. That is insane. Alright. But yeah, there we go. I now have paint blocks, I guess. I have a way, I have infinite gravel and sand along with cobblestone. Although the sand is going to be very, very slow. This chest will never run out. This might. But oh well. And then... Okay, so let's actually see if... If I aim for coal with this... Iron has a 18% chance to give it to me. Diamond has a 22% chance. Flint has an 18. Iron has 18. So the one with the highest odds is diamond. Interesting. Diamond only also has 5 things it can turn into. And I've got 4 of the 5. Let's see, can I get the emerald? Can I get the 1% emerald with this little bit of gravel? Got 3 diamonds. That's cool. Yeah, emeralds are gonna be hard to get at 1%. I'm about to get them eventually, but it's going to take a while. Oh, I got the first emerald of the world. 1 emerald. Alright, I'm gonna throw that in there. 48 coal. That amount. Thrown there doesn't even do that, but I also have all of this. Let's see how much this turns into. Alright, all this gravel turns into just over 34. Now I sift it all down. See how much it gives. I should probably look into an auto sifter. Whoops. Yeah, I should probably try to look into an auto sifter and hook that up. Wow, and hook that up to the iron mesh. Two emeralds, 10 diamonds, and almost a stack of coal. Can I reach a stack? Close, but no. And I have 5 emeralds, 23 diamonds. Oh my god. That is a lot of diamonds. Then I can go over here and just throw all that in and boom. Now this is gonna run for even longer. I should probably look into getting a speed upgrade for that, because that could be painfully slow after a while. Alright. Block of redstone, of course. Upgrade base, which costs resonator, costs this, which is an ender shard. Which I don't think I have, and I don't have an ender pearl either. So that's great. Because I will not be looking into getting that. I have a lot of gold though, so. Let's see, what could I use this for? 107 recipes. Put into a printed improved processor. Gold-plated turbine reactor. Energetic alloy. Solarium. An electrum. Gold grit. I can make XP boost. Upgrade backpack tier. Get molten gold. Crush it into gold grit. Gold plates, gold grit, solarium, and energetic alloy, solder, terraformers, 80. I could get the enchanted ingot, but that is going to cost stuff. Although, this might not be too much. It's just, how am I going to get that? And it has to last, I don't know if I need that for 5 minutes, or if I need this, and then it'll take 5 minutes. Evil, infuse, and magical apples. So I can make it into enchanted stuff. It's just gonna take a bit. Oh. I guess I'll just craft it into 53 gold. Decide what to do with it later. You can tell hearing that witch just go off forever. Ooh, and since that also gives a lot of lapis, I could make more lapis blocks. Or some more chance cubes, I mean. Oh, I don't have enough for another. Do have enough for 7. Is there a way that I can increase? Nope. Alright. This one can only come from the legendary loot bag. Plus 10 when the block is broken. That is kind of expensive. And the fact that it requires that much for every... Right click a chance cube to summon the reward. So tier 3. So I only need 1 diamond block. And a lot of gold and a lot of lapis. Alright, I will start to save up for that. I'm not gonna put it in there. You put it in somewhere that I can remember. Right there. That there. And I'll put this back over here. Now I'm gonna go down. Whee! There's a spider on here. So this is my first spider in ages. God, that looked creepy. Okay, I still have this. Good. 23. I like those odds. Time to bounce. I don't know what that meant. What the? What's underneath here? Oh, it's slime. Fortunately, they are on the layer that I can't grab. Alright. This one's 74. What the hell? You got magic feet, so let's kill. Thank God my Alright. What's your real chance? -9. I don't like those odds. What the hell? 0, -9, 79, 29, and 19. Okay, what's this? Book of memes. What the hell? Okay. This one. This is 79. I want to get this one. Ooh. That's -9. So now break this one. Ooh, free iron set. That's 0, but that's not as money. Auspicious squares. So I put some cheese cubes. What the heck? Okay. Interesting. I got some quartz out of it, which is cool. What the? That is a terrible pickaxe. Fuse quartz. I can sag it into regular quartz. Glow glass on a black quartz can make enlightened fuse. Aesthetic quartz. Quartz burnt. The mana pool can revert it back. Okay. I have a lot of just random junk now. 15. You know what? I'm actually gonna go back up, put some of this stuff away, and continue. There should be a faster way to get up these. As the squids are falling to their demise. I like there's a ring of something that also appeared underneath me when I fell through the world. So that one else we have to look at. Oh. Alright, back up. Throw the extra equipment that I have in there. Throw that in there as well, along with the bits. I should put them like that. Dirt chest. Just throw some extra gravel in there. Quartz. I have a bunch of mob drop. Okay. Cool. I got redstone. Oh, was it just like random ores? Man, I really missed out on that because of the death then. That's annoying. But oh well. Actually, I want some of the slabs, just in case. If I need to replace any blocks. Alright. Not this one, it's this one. Alright. A fish. I found Nemo. Guys, I found Nemo. We didn't have to go on a massive adventure. Sulfray too. What is sulfray? That's twice I've gotten that random effect. -24. I don't like this. Oh my god. There we go. Well, I got both carrot and... Alright, 8. You skip the wrath of the chance cubes for now. I don't like that. Nice. Do you... Yay! I have infinite snow now! Finally! Wow. And now I have SpongeBob SquarePants. Where's the pineapple? Relapse 3. I'm not moving. I'm not moving. I'm staying put. I don't know what that is. But relapse is something about snapping back. Minus 73. Good God. I'm glad I ran. So I was like, that doesn't seem right. Oh, time to eat because I'm not opening another one while low HP. Alright. This one is minus 8. Charmed solids. Oh! I have wool! I have colored wool. I'm actually quite happy about that. Alright, time to very slowly swim up because I don't have shears. Oh boy. Alright. That's fine. Just gotta go grab the shears and then we'll be able to continue. Just get a little higher. Alright. Shears are in there. Where are they then? Or do I not have any? Did I break all the shears I had? I probably did. That's a lot of gold. How much is this? 5 blocks. That's enough for at least a little bit of something. I actually gonna throw that. Oh, I have more gold. I forgot about that. So now I have 8 gold, so now that can get me up 2 tiers. But the lapis can't even get me a single. Alright. So there is a chance I have none, so no shears at all. So what can this be used for? Pretty much only for that stuff. And I have single iron here. So let's sift and hopefully get some more iron. Ooh, I got 1 extra piece out of that. Ooh, iron chicken. The iron chicken might have stuff. Oh, there's a lot of stuff in here that I wasn't really expecting to be getting, but oh well. Yay! I can make 2 shears. And all this wool. Need as much of it as I can. I lost purple. It's actually gonna be a little annoying now. But oh well. Up and get some more. Sorry about the silence. I'm just trying to focus on not losing wool. Especially with how hard it is to get wool sometimes. I'm gonna do this so that way I can actually shear it away. And I can build back. Get started on the smaller one. Should be easier because it's over a platform. So I'm not as worried about losing the blocks. And I think once I'm done getting rid of all this wool, I'll open up the last chance cube and call it there. Did get quite a lot done. Automated some stuff. We managed to get a lot more diamonds. We got like what, 23 I think it is now. But since we're crafting the pendants so that way these guys get luckier, we got 15, which is still by all means really, really good. Yeah, that's a good amount of wool. But I want more. Went up the colorful staircase to go get more. Jeez, I'm hoping. I can actually save a good majority of this. Let's see. Breaking that block caused me to fall off. So I'm just gonna climb back up. Uh-oh. It's because of the wool. I gotta get rid of it. Just get back to the top. thankfully all this is over platform, so I don't have, once again, don't have to worry. I just gotta break it all. There we go. Oh, I guess I do still have to worry a little bit. I just lost some. But I don't have to worry as much. Okay. Hello, Mr. ND. Yes, I will look for the eye. Alright. You me. Fight. I won, but no pearl. I think that was actually my first Enderman kill. Let's check. Statistics, mobs. That was my first one. It's a new day. I still got a lot more of these blocks to break, though. Alright, let's get back up here. And cut this whole thing down. Oh. Oh, I fell, but that's fine. It's almost done. But so is my shears. I've got a lot of blocks in this, to be fair. I'll eat this carrot. Get free space. Alright. These two. Jump to break that one. Unfortunately. Alright, and then I could go back up and continue cutting down the rest. But yeah, in full honesty, this is like the first bit of wool I've seen this entire world. Other than the white wool I'm able to craft was just string. Alright. That's all the wool. But I still have one last chance cube. Minus 57. I do not like those odds. Oh, that's sad. I don't get to keep them. Oh, I guess they're not even mine. Oliver. Dropped by live cats. Oh my god. It's very maybe discussing first one, removing all the hair by right clicking to reveal some valuable items or just string. I think I got a feather. Interesting. But alright. Well, the raining cats and dogs was definitely something that was not on my bucket list for today. But we did get a whole ton of wool, so that's nice. And I'm actually going to be calling it there once I get to the very top of this. Oh, there we go. Thought I was moving slow for some reason. Alright. And there we go. Up at the top. Go ahead and throw the wool into here. As well as this stuff. But yeah. That's going to be all for today, folks. Thank you all for tuning in, coming to the stream, watching it on YouTube, whatnot. And again, there will not be a stream on the Thursday of next week. However, there will be a stream either the day before or day after. Most likely, it's going to be the day before, but that's still up in the air for now. Once again, thank you all so much for watching. And I will see you all in the next one. Goodbye now. See ya. Thank you all for tuning in.